Right, I'm now getting everything ready to be mounted into the hull. So it tells you to put the bow forecastle, the main superstructure body and the stern into place. But the first thing you got to do is mount 14 and 15 first, and 16 and 17. So 14 and 15 is the rail for the stern, which is that. You glue the piece in the middle. There's like a mounting pin and a mounting hole. You just glue those in, let them set. And then you got D16 and D17, which is for the bow. Again, there's a pin and a hole in this pointed front section here. Just get a bit of tape and just hold that down, because it'll keep trying to wanting to split on you. And then you just mount them onto here. So what you do is you just run the glue all the way around. You get a little notch each side of that little black raised section there, because that comes out. Very easy to do indeed, and you just get your bits of tape, couple of pieces there, couple of pieces there, and again 3 pieces on that side. Again with your stern, there's a, like I said, little black raised section out the hull there. You just put them little tabs at each side, ran your glue round with a couple of bits of tape, let them set. And it's telling me to put the bow forecastle section into the underneath of the hull, the superstructure. There's 2 mounting pins, and then that goes underneath, right underneath there, that section there. So taking my hull away, so there's your mounting holes for the forecastle, and those go just underneath there, right at the front. Very, very easy indeed. But on the back section, for these, that will mount into them holes there, and that'll have to go right in there like that. Like that. And the forecastle, that will just mount into there like that. Dead easy. Also, you can see that I've done all the rigging now. You can see all these bits of thread flapping around. You see I've glued them to the underneath, on the bow forecastle and on the stern. Turning the plans over, and that's going to be all that there. All the rigging. So this is all now ready to be put together. I'm now gluing the forecastle bow section and the stern section to the main superstructure. Like I said from the previous update, you've got the little tab holes underneath there. Now on here, on the forecastle, because it's only a little lip, my clamps kept slipping off down. So what I had to do is get my little pegs, take them off the springs and put them in there to give that something to grip onto. So now it's an equal pressure on the peg and the actual little lip itself, so that's gluing lovely. On the stern section, like I said, I've got that underneath there, lined the holes up, ran the glue round the top of the deck piece, which like angles round here, round there, and then I've put my 2 pressure clamps, sorry, my 2 little scissor clamps on the side of the deck, because it's a lovely bit of clearance. And then just got a bit of my sheet plastic and just cut that into a little square, and then just put that on the top of the deck where it's squared around that edge there, so it'll glue onto the underneath. And then I've just put a couple of pressure clamps here to stop the actual lip section with the 2 holes from popping out. So all I've got to do now is just leave this for a couple of hours to dry. This will be dry for this afternoon, because it's now, what, 9:45 in the morning. So this will be done for about, say, about 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Let's see what happens. Taking the clamps off now, off of the forecastle and the stern. The forecastle is a bit flimsy, because it's only connected there, so I'm sure once it's mounted into the hull it should be a bit stronger. You can see all the bloody lines that I'm flapping around. I've got to tie them up and get them over here so I can mount this into the hull. Going over to the stern, you've got that bit there with the two holes where that's glued in. Underneath you can just make out the walls. I ran the glue all the way around the top of the walls as well as there with the clamps, putting this down very, very carefully. Where I'd put the clamps here with that bit of sheet plastic, that's held down lovely. Now you can see that I've put the cranes in, because if you look right there just at the top of my pencil, there's not much of a gap. There's probably a 1mm gap in there, and if you remember on the underneath of the crane there was like a square circle mount which was probably about 2.5mm high. I don't think I could have got that crane underneath over that little lip, underneath that deck plate there. So what I did is I glued these in first. I've painted them and done all the orange with the tape, with the masking tape, and I just glued those in. They're very easy to glue in. Let those dry, and that's when I put the rest of the decking, the actual stern. So put those in first before you actually put all this together. I've test fitted one of the cranes and it goes into that hole, so it's not going to make any difference. It's not going to be tight fit or anything, and what I've done is I've angled the actual cranes so the arms will face that way as it lines with that deck plate there. So now all this is done, I've just got to tie all them loose rigging threads and get this mounted into the hull. Right, now gluing the completed superstructure, forecastle and stern into place now. I tied up all my loose rigging threads, mainly around smokestack 1 and smokestack 4, around the tops of the ladders, and tucking some into the smokestacks themselves just to stop them from flapping around. I then put some glue all the way around the top rim of the hull, inside the stern railing and inside the bow railing, because the reason you put them on first is because there's like a little lip on the inside of the railing which the point of the forecastle and this circle, like the semicircle round here for the stern. Also running some glue in those channels, all 8 of them, 4 on this side, 4 on that side. And then just pushed it into place. On the one side I've got my curved tweezers I did with the test fit. Just pull that out slightly, ease the one side in, turn it round, and then ease the other side in. Pushed it down the best I can. Pushing the stern into place, making sure that clicks into place properly, and the forecastle bow. And then just putting my clamps into place here and here because there's a gap, so I've had to push them into place, and also align the tops of these little edges around here, the curved edges on the stern, so those sit on top of the actual rim of the hull. Done the same for the bow section stroke forecastle. Again, this trying to keep popping out and making sure those little curved bits at the edge sit into place as well, because that one popped out a little bit. It's pushing out this way. I've also put a clamp on top of the buffers on the forecastle because that was kept lifting slightly, but it ain't looking too bad. I don't know if I've got to do any secondary gluing. Maybe, you know, I've pushed the superstructure down the best I can to meet the top lip of the hull. So we'll just give this a few hours, take the clamps off and see where we are at that. Taking the clamps away, mainly here and here, and the one on the forecastle that was on that area with the buffers. For some strange reason, the anchor chain has come loose off its mount. I don't know why. Maybe it was the clamp, I don't know. So I've got to really glue that down. But there and there, it's glued really nice. No gap issues. And I took the clamps away from here and here. Again, it's clamped in really well. No gap issues. And then, if you remember from the previous update when I was gluing it down, I said I pushed it down the best I could along the superstructure white sidewall into those, from the tabs into those little channels. I've pushed it down the best I can, but all the way down there where the white of the superstructure meets the top rim black of the hull, there's a very, very minuscule gap all the way down. And if I held it up against the light, or held it up with the sunshine coming through the window, I could actually see the gap from there, and looking through that way I could actually see the gap on the left side. I demonstrated, but the camera won't pick it up. So what I did is I got my needle point of my contactor, laid the Titanic on its side, both sides, and ran the glue all the way down where the white of the superstructure meets the top rim of the hull. Did it both sides, and then I put a clamp here, and on the other side, top part of the clamp there on the top, and the bottom clamp underneath the hull at the bottom of the keel, both sides. And then I did one here and here as well. It's dried perfect, and it's lovely and stiff. It don't move at all. I can't push it in with my finger anymore. But the trouble is the gap still remains because the contact dries clear. So what I'm going to have to do, once I've tied it up with the sanding on the top of the deck where I've done all the clamping, I'll probably put a drop of filler in there, and hopefully I won't be able to see through to the other side with the sunlight. But the clamps has done its job, and this is looking really nice. Not bad at all. Doing a bit of sanding work now to get rid of the glue marks. You can see the gaps a bit more now. The very minuscule gap. And on this side as well. It's mainly just getting rid of the glue marks, to be honest. And you remember that on this side here there was a massive long black glue mark. I've managed to get rid of that. And you can see I've worn away a bit of the teak. Originally what I was going to do is I was going to paint the teak in there to try and cover up that gap. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe I could fill it with my household filler. But then I had a couple of responses on the previous update that I uploaded to YouTube yesterday. And one chap said, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it was 0311 Uli, or 0311 Uli. I'm sorry if I've pronounced your name wrong. He said, what you want to do, I've got a picture of because I'm having the same issue on the 1350 Minicraft version of this. He says, what you want to do is you want to get a piece of styrene, cut it really thin, and just put it in and patch it up, and it'll make it look a bit sharper. What I've done is I found some card, and this is actually quite thick card, and I've cut it off very, very thinly. I've measured it with my steel rule, and it's probably about 1 mil thick, and I'm going to use that to cover up that gap, because if I was to use the sheet plastic that I've got, that's way too thick, where the card is slightly thinner. And that's probably the thickness that I need. So that's what I'm going to do, and try and fill that in and see how it looks. Let's see what happens.